we are going to move to another powerful, a world-class scientist and traditional reader in the person of His Royal Highness Professor Wilfred Mbacham. He's a Cameroonian from where I hail. He's a Harvard-trained public health scientist and renowned malaria expert. He's also the traditional ruler of the Funam Mbome Fundum in Cameroon. And he just celebrated one of the biggest cultural festival that brought beauty pageants to his kingdom somewhere in the Metaland. He's uniquely rich scientific research, public policy, ethical governance, and traditional authority. So all of that in one space, leading African-driven solutions towards a malaria-free continent. It started from Cameroon, it has gone beyond, and we're talking about it in the world. As founder and president of the Finistec and board chair of the UK-based Malaria Consortium, he has played a key role in translating evidence-based research into policy, strengthening institutions and advancing sustainable health systems across Africa. I can go and go. The list is just so long to present Prof. Mbacham from different facets, from different backgrounds. Then I'll just go ahead to ask you this one very important question. Drawing from your unique position at the intersection of science, innovation, policy, and tradition, how can Africa progress from inspiring success stories to establishing enduring systems? Systems change, so to speak. Institutions and leadership models, just like Sarah highlighted before, leadership models that ensure lasting impact even after the departure of such key figures.
Well, thank you very much, Akira, and all of those from Luminate Africa Journal and the whole organization for inviting me to speak at this panel discussion. And I think it's a topic that is quite close to my heart, and I'm so glad that Sarah touched a little bit about that. And I think the lady chair of the board also eased and gave some guidelines on what Africa needs to do. You know, Africa's greatest challenge today is no longer a lack of brilliance. We're quite brilliant. We have vision, and we have very inspiring success stories. And I think what we might be facing is how we translate our exceptions into something permanent. You know, how to turn moments of excellence into systems that would outlive us as individuals who give birth to those innovations and ideas. We need to draw from the crossroads of science. We need to draw from our experience as Africans and therefore tradition. And we need to also open up and understand a little bit of what is policy. And I think that there are some major shifts that we as Africans need to undertake. The first of them is knowing that we have, as individuals, been heroes, and we need to shift a little bit and start building institutions, because these institutions are what are going to last beyond our individual achievements. The other thing we need to do quite early on, and that I had to learn when I became a traditional ruler, was that there's a lot of indigenous wisdom, and we need to codify those. With the advent of new technologies, we need to look for ways in which these indigenous knowledge can be brought into modern systems and, in a way, foster what we call and promote at the Funam Festival cultural modernism. Now, the third aspect, which I think we need to do, is that we all have been successful, wonderful grant writers, won so many projects, but we have hardly institutionalized the knowledge that has emanated from these projects. And therefore, we need to start thinking institutions. And anyone who thinks institutions thinks of a network. And that's why I got so wonderfully trapped in when you suggested that I be part of this new initiative. And I said, we need to build that network, because that's how knowledge gets institutionalized. The fourth aspect is that leadership. Africans are great leaders. We started being leaders from time immemorial. but somehow we have passed that on by verbal communication, by oral communication, and we need somehow to institutionalize and professionalize this leadership so that it becomes a discipline, the African way, so that we can see exactly what it is that Africans have to offer and be able to pass that on the same way that chiefs and traditional rulers pass on that kind of knowledge and leadership to the sons who are heirs to the throne. The second aspect is that we need some kind of financial continuity, not just innovations. Innovations are wonderful, but it is important for us to be able to see that this is sustainable. And there's so many philanthropies, so many giving individuals within Africa, within our village communities, within our different neighborhoods, that we can talk to them and give them the best of storytelling that takes over and be able to sustain this once the initial funding is gone. And the last of my suggestion of shifts is that we should move away from the culture of ownership and start building more of stewardship. And I think that we would see dramatic shifts, we would see dramatic changes if we were able to do this. Africa does not suffer from a leadership deficit. It suffers more from a systems deficit. How do we make systems stay in place and work after we're gone? The future belongs to those who can move from these exceptional individuals to exceptional institutions. And we need to move very, very steadily, but very surely. And I think the ultimate test, of how we do this starts with us as individuals. And we will take it, cultivate it, pass it on, and so that we're not seen more as egocentric success builders, but people who can pass on that leadership to the next of kin, who can send that leadership to others under this and be able to translate this into ways in which our children and our children's children can benefit enormously from this. Thank you very much.
Prof. I can't leave you without asking this one key question. It also falls in my area of specialty. Yes, and I want you also come back to your domain, which is malaria control. As a malaria expert, and I want us to talk about infodemic management and vaccine acceptance. Cameroon benefited from the introduction of the vaccine, of the malaria vaccine. So, as journalists, we grapple with situations in terms of providing information that is authentic. Now we are talking about the upsurge of the social media and with all what that comes with it in terms of fake news, in terms of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So you as a scientist, you as an expert in the domain, you even as a traditional ruler, what can you say? What can you advise us journalists who will be reporting about health development to fight or to grapple with this heavy weight in terms of infodemic?
Well, I think that the one thing that has not happened wonderfully on the continent is the fact that good information has not been shared, and so we lack that enormously. And when you see that conspiracy theories start emerging, is because information has not been shared. So the scientists need to get out of the silos and be able to package the information in such a way that it tells a convincing story that is taken over to the population to help them understand what it is that they deal with. Behind every phenomenon on Earth, there is a scientific principle and theory behind it. And we can have explanations to this and take it to the population and explain to them exactly what is happening. And I think that if they trust you and you explain things in a very simple manner in which they can understand, they will believe you. And maybe you will start to take away a lot of these conspiracies and things that have been propagated in social media. We as scientists, we need to come out and communicate better.
Okay, thank you, Prof.